Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are located. It is time for pre-market post game with yours truly, Dex, the algo capitalist, aka the Vulcan, coming to you live from PulseWaveTrading.com. Hope you all had a wonderful weekend because, as you know, things always jump off from the weekends. So the latest breaking news is that the Fed has just announced, and they did this after 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, that they were going to do QE infinity. And so what happened was last night, I should say Sunday night, the stock index futures markets opened down, limit down last night. So the Dow was down 1,000 points. Then it rallied up to like 400 or 500 points in the green. Now it's back down 300 points. So the volatility has been absolutely insane, off the hook, over the top. And basically, the Fed has just guaranteed us that we're going to, at some point in the near future, we're going to start experiencing a credit crunch. We're going to start experiencing much higher interest rates. There's no way around it. I don't see how it can be avoided at this point. It's just one of those things that they're going to have to deal with. So this is where we're at. Now, I did also tell you about and warn you about the peddlers of panic and propaganda. We've seen no short of that on social media as well as the mainstream media. Straight peddling as much panic, as much propaganda as possible. They're constantly showing you deaths, never talking about survivals, never even opening the lines of communication and discussion around legitimate questions and concerns about the origins of the virus and the transmutation thereof. They're constantly giving us contradictory information regarding the above. We can never get a straight answer. At one moment, they say we have to shut everything down and keep everyone at home. That's what they tell you. But yet, every time they're doing a press conference, they're standing right next to each other. They're talking about social distancing, but they're standing right next to each other, handshaking and everything, and they're not even wearing masks when they do these live discussions. But yet, they want to tell you that you need to stay in the house. So which is it? Then they say, okay, well, we can keep, daycare open. We can do that. But wait a minute. I thought you said that children are like primary incubators of disease and they can carry and spread stuff easily. Now that I recall, my first incidence of chicken pox as a child was I got it from public school. So again, mixed messages. They just want to scare people to death. Reminds me of the old 1970s movie, Let's Scare Jessica to Death. That's exactly what they want to do. They want to scare the public to death. But here's the truth behind all of that. And you guys need to know this, all right? The American people, as far as our government is concerned, they are very resourceful, very resourceful. And they come up with all types of ideas and plans. They're not going to let anything just collapse on their watch, not without throwing everything at it that they can. The American people are very resilient as well as resourceful. Right after 9/11, did not that market come screaming right back up again? Every time the bears come out and start saying the sky is falling, when they put on their chicken little hats and t-shirts and say the sky is falling, beware, beware. they always get punched in the face by the Fed and the market. The market turns around and goes rip roaring high, squeezing the life out of the shorts, and then they miss out on an amazing bull market run. The same people that are preaching doom and gloom right now are the same ones that missed out on a fantastic bull market rally that lasted years. They missed everything about it. They've been calling for the downside for a decade now. They've been trying to short the market for a decade now. And now that the market has finally decided to correct, which is always inevitable in markets, now they're screaming, "See, I told you so. I was right." You were not right. A broken watch is right twice a day, right? But no, they were not right. What they were trying to do was to manipulate the crowd. There is a crowd of individuals that are addicted to fear porn. So any type of fear porn, they're going to gravitate toward it naturally because it's part of their DNA. Then you have the other extreme. You have the ostriches. They have their heads in the sand. They want to debunk everything you throw at them. They will not believe anything. All right. They're not like Doubting Thomas. At least Doubting Thomas said, I just require some evidence. I just require some evidence. That's all. That's all. I just have to require. It's not even, far out evidence. He just said, I just need to see some type of evidence that suggests that everything you guys are saying are true. Now, the difference is once Doubting Thomas was presented with said evidence, he was like, oh my goodness, it is true. But on the opposite side of the spectrum that we're talking about now, these doubters, they don't care. They're going to forever debunk everything, whether it be a truth or a lie. They're going to debunk it. It could be pouring down raining outside, and they will say, I don't believe that it's raining outside. Let me debunk for you why it's not raining. And they'll come up with a 800-page book about how it is not raining outside, even though it is pouring down raining and people are getting soaking wet. They don't have umbrellas. So that's the type of public we're dealing with. We're dealing with the extreme of two spectrums. On one side, we have the propagators of propaganda and panic. All right. They're peddlers of it. That's what they do. That's their existence. That's how they eat. That's how they make their money. Then on the other extreme side, you have the doubters. It doesn't matter what type of evidence is presented to them, no amount of evidence will be sufficient. They will never listen. They will never believe. So that's what we're dealing with today. It's a war of ideas, but it's not a level playing field because those that have all the power, they control the flow of information. And it's not a level playing field because they make sure that only their perspective gets out to the masses. Any other contending perspectives are silenced by any means necessary. And that's what we're dealing with right now. That is why I am saying to you, and like I've always said to you, the American society is doomed. It is doomed because of its success. Success in what respect? America has been successful, and the West, period, has been successful in dumbing down its civilians. It's done this through an onslaught of never-ending propaganda, dumbing down the public educational system as well as the collegiate educational system. And then to bombard you even more, you're getting bombarded with the same propaganda in movies and TV shows. You hear it ad infinitum on talk shows. And they have made sure that they have infiltrated every area of our society with said proponents of propaganda. And you hear it so much, so often, and you hear it unchallenged because they will not allow challenge, and they will not allow open debate. So you never hear the opposing side, and you never get a chance to examine the opposing side evidence. And when they do pretend to allow the opposing side to speak or present said evidence, they quickly dismiss it and debunk it just enough to cause doubt on the hearers. So before the person even speaks, they're already being dismissed. They assassinate the individual's character. They come at them from all sides, every angle, and then they'll bring in 10 intellectuals to disagree with the individual to make it a gang up affair. So this one expert, this one intellectual says, no, I have an opposing idea, opposing side. Let me present to you my evidence. And they say, nope, we got 10 intellectuals here of our own on our panel, and they all disagree with you. So it makes that one individual, it discredits them publicly and openly. And of course, he's ganged up on. They won't let the person talk. They'll keep the interview short, or they'll take out sound bites if it's not live and edit it in a way to make the person look and sound absolutely crazy. That's the world we're living in right now. In addition to that, what else are they trying to do? They're trying to not only scare you to death, but the end game in scaring you to death is so that they can pass their legislation. Now, you already know how they do these bills and legislations, how they get passed. What happens is they do not allow any opposition to see what is in the bill. You don't get a chance to take time to review it, because then they say, nah, you don't have time to review this. If you don't get this done today, then we have no choice but to declare martial law and shut down the markets and everything else, and put the country into panic. So yeah, think about that for a minute. Let that sink in as we move ahead. Now, I've already told you that last night the Dow was lock limit down. All right, I told you guys that. And then I told you how the market rallied up 400 or 500 points. Now we're back down 500 points. There's a reason for it, because as the state keeps throwing the kitchen sink, the bathtub, the refrigerator, everything they got to keep the markets propped up, the American people are confused and still frightened. Remember, you spent a lot of time frightening everyone, telling everyone that they need to stay in the house. They can't go outside. They can't interact with their friends and family. You're telling them that this pathogen is so dangerous. All right. It's a 4 on the R0 scale. All right. It's twice as deadly as Ebola. It's 100 times more deadly than any disease we've ever seen. As far as we're concerned, this disease is alien, and it's alive and self-aware. We've been talking to it, trying to reason with it, but it says it doesn't want to hear any of it. It's angry because it's been ignored for so long. It hasn't ever been recognized on the fear scales and fear tables. They said, you talk about smallpox, you talk about anthrax, but you never talk about me. What about me? I'm COVID-19. I never hear you talk about me. You've never talked about me until now. How come I never heard my name mentioned? I'm going to show you how powerful I really am. And they're saying, please, Mr. COVID-19, don't do this. Please don't do this. So they're making it sound as if this is some, new boogeyman who is conscious and self-aware and has determined to wage war on the world. Have you noticed the language has been changed? At first, they were saying, we're dealing with pandemic, 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 pandemic. Now you're not even hearing that word used anymore. Now you're hearing the other side of the fence, which is War. You hear it now. The warmongers are coming out. War. That is their catchphrase. That is their word. That is their trigger. The word war, warfare, war. What do you do when there's war? What do you do when there's warfare? You bring out your military apparatus. All right. And what do they do? What are they specialists in? They're specialists in killing. That's what they do. They kill. All right. They're coming armed with all types of firearms and rockets and missiles and jets and battleships. All right. That's what they do. So you call up the armed forces because remember, you use the word war. So the war word triggers warfare. So you're saying we're at war with this pandemic. We're at war with this virus. What do you expect a gun to do against a medical condition? The only thing a gun can do for a medical condition is to shoot the individual and put them out of their misery. Why do you think the #1 movies being watched and rented all have to do with the movie Pandemic, the movie Outbreak, Contagion, 12 Monkeys? I mean, it goes, I can't even name them all. There have been so many of these outbreak pandemic type movies, and that's what people are watching. And isn't it hilarious that everything that they did in those said movies, they're actually doing right now, as if those movies was a play designed to be carried out in reality. So they show you what it is and how they're going to roll when it happens, and then they start doing exactly as you saw in the movie, like that was the playbook. So now what are we seeing happening? Well, you're being used again as pawns in a game. They got you scared to death. They got you shook. So what do? You still prop up the economy for them. They didn't close the grocery stores. Some have closed. One of our members sent me some information showing how one of the #1 grocery store chains in their area has closed its doors. So you got people shook and scared to death. What is it going to help if you give every American $1,000 or $10,000 for that matter? Heck, give them 20, give them $100,000. What good is that going to do when they can't leave the house to spend it? You won't be able to use that to prop up the economy without contradicting yourself yet again. We're going to say, okay, it's safe to go outside now and spend that money we gave you. The only reason why you're saying that is because without them spending the money you gave them, the economy comes to a screeching halt. The economy only works if people are able to spend money. Now, I know some of you say, well, hey, no, you can shop online. Shoot. Really? Have you tried shopping online lately? Have you been able to find anything that you desperately need online? The answer is no. And even when you are fortunate enough to come across said items, what is the delivery time? Summer? If you're lucky. The system has already broken down in that regard. All right, so I'm saying to everybody, do not become a victim of the peddlers of propaganda. Do not become victims of the peddlers of panic and propaganda. They're only doing what they're supposed to do. That's what peddlers do. It's their lifeblood. They have to peddle. They have to hustle. They're hustlers of fear and propaganda. They got to keep that narrative up. It's the only way they'll get you to go along with their plans, just like on 9/11. How did we have thousands of pages of law come up, come right there? Oh, we already got the law. We got the Patriot Act already done. Everyone has approved it, ready to go. It's because it was written before 9/11. They were waiting for that 9/11 to be carried out so they could implement it. And you, as the American people, you begged them for it. You begged them for it. And so they gave it to you. Just like when the NASDAQ bubble bursted, you begged the government to step in and bail you out, except they didn't bail you out. They made it harder for you to eat. That's what they did. They didn't bail you out. They didn't make you whole for all the money you lost. They didn't tell you to go gamble your money away on the market because you weren't investing and you weren't trading. You were gambling because you didn't know what you were doing. And so they came in and they shut you down. They said, okay, I got you. I'll tell you what I'm going to do for you. I'll make it so that you'll never be able to go in the market again. So you cut your own heads off because you had a cold. What kind of sense does that make? You have a cold and you slice your head off. It's up. That'll fix that. No more runny nose now. It's ridiculous. So that's what they do. They back you into a corner and they get you to go along with their idea by making you beg for their idea. It's dastardly. But that's what socialism is. Socialism is the introductory gateway drug to communism. All right? It comes to you under the auspices of, we will let your government take care of you. Let your government provide for you. Now, in return, you will not going to have any freedoms. In return, you're asking me to be power of attorney over your life. You're giving the government power of attorney. They get to make all the decisions for your life. When you go to them with your hands out, they say in return, they get to make all the decisions for your life. They get to decide if you prosper and by how much you will prosper, if you prosper at all. They will control every area of your life. There's an old saying, watch what you wish for, because you just might get it. People are clamoring for this democratic socialism as proposed by Bernie, who has been in office for 974 years, according to my sources. He has been in office longer than Yoda has been alive. And you keep re-electing him into office. These are career politicians. How could we even allow such a thing? Get him up out of there. He needs to bounce. He needs to roll up out of there, and every incumbent along with him. Anybody who is preaching the false gospel of democratic socialism are deceived, and they're deceiving you as well. They want to take all of the natural resources on the planet for themselves, and then they want to release it back to you. The last time I checked, breathing in and out was something we did naturally and freely. Under this new paradigm, it will cost you. You will no longer be able to breathe in and out on your own without permission. You will not be able to go to the bathroom without permission. You will not be able to start a business of any kind without permission. You will not be able to do good deeds and help out your neighbor without permission. Everything that you do naturally now, without even thinking about it, will become illegal. They're already arresting people for disobeying a voluntary self-quarantine. Yes, they are arresting people. Arresting people for going outside. Something you do naturally as an adult. You're now being told you can no longer be an adult. You are no longer an autonomous adult. You are now state property, property of the state. You will do as you are told, when you are told, and you will not question it. And if that wasn't enough, they just agreed to vote themselves even more power. And this is the power to do away with the U.S. Constitution and your Bill of Rights. They voted themselves unlimited power of attorney over your life. They can now go beyond the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act. They can go beyond that and the Patriot Act. They just voted to give themselves power to arrest you and detain you indefinitely without cause, without right to due process, without an attorney, and without a trial for whatever they say so. They voted themselves kings and queens over us. This is what is happening. This is what has happened. And there's nothing anyone can do about it because you voted these people in the office. And the moment you did that and made them career politicians, this is what you've given up in the process. You've sold your soul to the state. So everything that is happening as the country is falling apart is part of that process. You're watching the decline of an empire, of a super state. America's on the decline, and it only gets worse from here. But there are some green shoots. There are some bright spots in all of this. See, people think that, okay, the world as I know is going to disappear, it's going to vanish. Why don't we eat, drink, and be merry, for tomorrow we die? Oh no, they're not going to let you get out of it that easy. Death would be too easy for you. They have no desire for that. If they simply killed everyone, then where would they find any slaves? There'll be no slaves for the system. They need slaves. So no, they don't have any plans to kill you. True, they're culling some. They're culling the weak and the infirm and the aged. Yeah, they're culling them. That's no doubt. But the rest of you, nope. To the salt mines with them. Let them grind in the mills. Let them make our bread. That's what they do. They make slaves out of their populace. It is the end game. Instead of China being the sweatshop of the world, America will become the sweatshop of the world. It's easy. That's what you see happening right now. Oh, that would never happen here. If I had $1 for every time someone ever said to me something would never happen here in the United States, I would be a billionaire. But no, people still believe the hype. They still drink the Kool-Aid no matter what you tell them. You cannot help everyone. So here's what's going to happen. I'm going to give it to you straight. You know, I always hit y'all with the real. All right, so here's what's happening. We know that the house of cards is coming down. But it doesn't nothing just happens in a straight line. There's always curves and sharp angles and bumps, speed bumps, all types of things. So this is what you're going to need now. I've been warning everyone who listens to this channel for years now. I've told you that the last thing that they're going to do before they can implement the new stuff is to take away your jobs. I warn you all. I pleaded with everyone that listens to this channel. I said, you gotta get another stream of income, a second stream, a third stream, whatever. You have to, because they're coming for your jobs. Everyone thought I was a lunatic. They thought I was a lunatic. Why do you think they've never had me back on any of their shows? I haven't been on none of them shows that invited me to come on because the audience could not stomach. They could not mentally process the information that I was giving them at that time. No one else was talking like I was talking, so they figured that I must be a nut. So I said, okay, fine. If they won't listen to me now, maybe they'll listen to me later. So let me do something in memorial for them. And I went and I did the documentary, There Is No Collapse. I followed that up with the Fed and the central banks versus the blockchain. And I said, surely they'll hear me now. Surely they'll have this and they'll be able to hear and listen. But they did not. I said, they're coming for your jobs. How are you going to eat if this happens? If you let this happen, what are you going to do? How are you going to eat? How are you going to feed your family? That's what I said. I said, the only way that I know to do this, the easiest way, the fastest way to do this is to come and break bread with me. Come on over to PulseWave Trading. Come see me. I will show you how to use my system so that you can extract money from these markets on a daily basis. Let me show you. It's the easiest way I know to build that income stream that you're going to need before you lose your job. So that by the time you lose your job, you are now grounded and rooted in the trading aspect, and you can go ahead and you can take care of yourself, and you don't have to be shook and desperate and say, what am I going to do now? I begged everyone for that. I begged them. No one listened. Now people want to come to me. They're beating down my door now, beating it down, begging for help. But there's only one problem. You didn't listen when I told you. You didn't listen. And so now you're coming to me and asking me, can you make a living now? You have $5 to your name, and you want to know, will you be able to trade with this $5 and make at least $5,000 a month so you can take care of you and your family? Knuckle, please. Get out of here with that. See, when you had the reserve capital, when you had that money earmarked for that you could have used for trading, you didn't. Instead, you lived it up. You was out there flossing in them streets. You was flossing. Look at me. Flossing. All right. So it is messed up. I can't help you when you don't have any money. I'm being honest, folks. I lowered the prices to the lowest that I could get it, $69 a month. $69 a month. And you can come and you can break bread with me, learn how to do what we do. Give yourself time, you know? And they say, I don't even have that. I'm like, if you don't have $69, then how do you expect me to help you? You have the risk capital to trade with. You don't even have $100. You don't have $250. You don't even have $500 of risk capital that you can come in and set and learn and do this. When you did have it, you chose to buy an Xbox instead. When you did have it, you chose to get a new pair of Jordans. See what I'm saying? Priorities. People only act and respond if they believe something. If they don't believe you, they're not going to act and respond until it's too late. Everyone who laughed and made fun of Noah for 120 years, they laughed at Noah. Look at this clown. He became a byword, a proverb. He's the mentally ill man. Stay away from him. Don't talk to him. Don't go around him. He is a nut. You know, my great granddaddy used to tell me stories about this dude. My granddaddy told me stories about this dude. I grew up listening to stories about this dude from my daddy, from my mama, from my grandmama. And he's still out there doing the same thing. What an idiot. It's been 20 years and he's still talking that nonsense. It's been 50 years, he's still talking that nonsense. 100 years have passed, he's still talking that nonsense. 110 years have gone by, he's still talking that nonsense. But then when it started raining, for real, when it started raining, everybody was knocking and banging on the door, let me in. Please let me in. I have children. I just had a baby. My favorite puppy just had puppies. Please let me in. I'm pregnant. Let me in. Please. I will pay you any amount of money that you need. Just let me in. It was too late. The scriptures records that the Lord shut him in, locked Noah and his family in. He couldn't open the door if he wanted to. And before he knew it, everyone drowned. He had been out there hustling, grinding, warning people, begging people, pleading with people for 120 years, and no one listened. No one, not one person listened, and they all perished. Well, that similar thing is happening now. How long did we say, look, man, you need to prepare? How many times did I say, hey, every time you go to the store, even those of you who are on a fixed budget or whatever, just get one more can of something, pork and beans, anything. Just get one can. If you just get one can, a week, then hey, at least you're doing something. At least that's going to give you one more day to live, right? How many people, raise your hands, remember me saying that? How many times did I say that? And now look, that was years ago. It's been over a decade now. Do you know how many cans you would have stored? You would have your pantry would be full right now. And I'm talking to the poor people listening to me. Those on fixed incomes or those that are like, minimum wage dead end jobs. Do you know how many cans of pork and beans you would have in your pantry if you started just buying one extra can per week? There are 52 weeks in a year, man. If you got paid every 2 weeks, you're going to have at least 20 cans a year times 10 years. That's 200 cans. In a decade, you would have 200 cans, man. You see what I'm saying? People don't think long term, they think short term. They want the short term gratification. And this is what that looks like. So here's the next step. Here's what's going to happen this week, and maybe even before the day is over. Here's what you're going to see happening to you who don't listen. I told you that the government likes to punish the short sellers in the equity markets. Let me be specific. In the equity markets, they like to punish the shorts. Remember, the equity market was designed to go only one direction, and that's up. All right? It's a built-in bias. It's up. Therefore, they will punish and take the heads off of everyone who has been short and greedy, refusing to take profit when warned by yours truly. They're coming for you. They're going to snatch your head right off your shoulders. I'm telling you. They're going to punch you in the face. They are not going to let their system just go belly up like that. All right. They're going to backstop the mess out of this and pump infinite liquidity. And the market's going to go back up again. Now, let me explain something else to you. All right. We have other issues going on too. And that issue is that we are under a new system. That's why I did the documentary, There Is No Collapse, because we're under a new system. All right. The new system is a digital electronic one. So they can print money forever. I have a situation. I need to put things on pause for a minute. Don't go nowhere. Thank you for your patience. That's the problem about doing things live, especially when you got children and stuff going on in the background. So I apologize for the silence. All right, so let's jump into what's going on in these markets right now. Oh, I see these comments. All right, so you said you noticed that they had hid the videos, and yet, yeah, they've been doing this to me for a minute now. They always hide my stuff, or make you, or they unsubscribe you, and then you have to go back and subscribe. And the reason how I know this is because I have multiple channels on, on YouTube, and I have one like private thing for myself that I use to watch videos, and I even subscribe to myself. And I noticed that this morning when I put the thing up, I didn't see myself in my feed. I saw everyone else that I subscribed to. I got about 1,000 subscriptions. I'm not even being funny with that number. That's a literal number. And I did not see myself come up in the feed at all. I had to search for it, and then I still didn't see it. And even now, as I'm talking to you, it is not coming up in my feed. So I don't know what's going on. And oh, you said you can't even get alerts on my vids anymore? Good grief. That's crazy, man. But it's the kind of reality that we got right now. So what do? You gotta go, and you gotta just keep doing what you do, man. And eventually it'll work itself out. Now, I think it's important, folks, in the time and in the day that we're into, is that there has to be a better alternative for, than YouTube. There has to be a place we can go that is not part of the beast system, that will not censor and allow you to do what you need to do. You know what I mean? We're in strange times, man. Seriously, we're in strange times because so much is happening behind the scenes that we can't even cover it in a day. I would literally be on a live stream for at least like 8 to 12 hours a day, and I still wouldn't be able to cover all the important, relevant news that's going on right now. I'm not even kidding. It's crazy. All right. So you see them. I've had the market feed up so you can see it. All right. So you can see the markets are going between positive and negative. The NASDAQ's almost up 100 right now. All right. So, but yet the Dow is down 72 points. So you see how the market's all over the place, how they're trying to digest what's happening. They're trying to digest what's going on. And they're having a very difficult time doing that. The NASDAQ, just to give you an idea of how crazy the market is this morning, the overnight market low for the NASDAQ 100 futures was 66.28 3/4. The high, 73.16 1/4. It opened at 67.98. So it opened and dropped and rallied to the 73 handle. And now, I mean, this is just obscene volatility. You got a 500-point swing in the NASDAQ. 500 points. That is like on a whole nother level of insanity. Wherein the Dow futures opened at 18,504 and immediately dropped down to 18,086. All right. Then rallied to 19,804. So you got 1,000-point range just from the open to the high of the day. It's like a 1,400-point range. Then you got from the high to the low, you got to add on another 500 points. So you got like a 2,000-point trading range, and the market keeps testing highs and lows all day. So you're moving thousands of points in the day in the Dow. That's how crazy the market is right now, trying to determine what's real and what's not, and how is it going to affect things. And that's what we kind of like find ourselves right now. The markets don't know what to do. They're like, huh? What? It's like, what? Huh? What do you want me to do? So things are crazy right now. It's a little absurd. Markets really, truly don't know what to do. They don't know how all of this is going to play out. And that's another thing I always talked about too. Even if you knew what the news was going to be, let's say you just knew what the news was going to be, and you were able to position yourself and do whatever you wanted to do. Well, here's the problem with that. All right, here's the problem with that. Even if you know what a report or a piece of news is going to be, you don't know how the markets are going to react to said news. And that's always been the issue. It's like, okay, so I know that this grain report is going to be bullish for soybeans. But you would think that common wisdom would say, well, actually, I think it's going to be good, because if it's a bullish report, the market can go up. But the market could fall on that report. See, that's the thing. You don't know how the markets are going to react to any piece of news. And that is kind of where we are right now. We don't know how the markets are really going to respond. Right now, the algos are confused as I don't know what. Not my algos, the market's algos are confused and don't know which way is up, which end is up. You know, I know y'all remember that song, right, from the late 70s. Which way is up? Y'all remember that? All right, so we don't know. So only thing you can do right now is just say, okay, well, let me see what other news is going to come out. Obviously, the president, I'm sure, is going to address the nation at some point, like he's been doing each and every day behind every market up and down move. You see the U.S. dollar has ceased rallying. It's now almost down a full point. As a matter of fact, it was down a full point earlier during the trading session, as it was flirting with the 103 handle. So it's done everything that I knew and told you it was going to do. It did go above par easily. Now here's another weird one. The long bond was down. It hit 174 in 28.30 seconds. Now it's up 1 full point in 28.30 seconds. And it was up more than that because the overnight high was 181.08. Right now we're at 177.27. So you can see the volatility in just about everything. Look at gold. Gold is up 45 right now, right? Up 45 bucks. It hit a high of 1534. But the low was 1484. So you can see, and it opened at 1505, so it dropped on the open. And now it is rallying, and now we're trading just off the highs of the session. Your silver's up 50 cents. It hit a low after the open of $12.29. Now it's at $12.87. It did go up as high as $13.03 in the overnight before pulling back down to $12.87. Your GDXJ is up $1.77 now. It hit a high so far of $26.82, and it hit a low of $25.58. So it dropped almost a buck on the open, only to now rally up to where it is now. So it's a lot of just weird stuff going on. Yes. Oh, so, okay. Many folks switching to D Live. Never heard of D Live. D Live, huh? I gotta look at this D Live thing. D Live. Hold on. All right, I'll make a note to take a look at that D Live. All right, so coming into today, let me give you the rally and crash alerts before we wrap this up. All right, so right off the rip today, the following notable crash alerts is what we got. We have it on the Black Swan ETF, ticker SWAN. We have it on the E-mini S&P 500. We have it in silver futures, the Australian dollar, the euro dollar, the pound sterling, GLD, JDST, which I don't see that one happening with the GDXJ being up, but you never know. New Zealand dollar, the inverse ETF for the dollar, the UDN, and then we have it on the NASDAQ 100 futures. Interesting how I don't have it in the Russell and I don't have it in the Dow, just the NASDAQ and the E-mini S&P. So kind of a mixed bag there. Normally, these markets move together in tandem, tick for tick. So when you start to see a divergence like this, it does make things a little bit more interesting, so to speak. Let's see, 1927 UDN. Okay, UDN right now is showing off and looking like it wants to run, to be quite honest with you. So I'm watching this one. With the dollar being down the way it is, this one might run. So that's interesting how this is going. All right, let's see here. Possible 2-bar Charlie setups for the day. Yep, UDN has a bearish 2-bar Charlie, so I'm expecting an all day down day on that one and expecting it to close negative. All right, let's see, still scanning for the 2BCs. So far, nothing. So far, not a thing. All right, let me check currencies and food. Let's see here. Nope. So far, not a thing. No 2-bar Charlie setups. Nope, no 2-bar Charlie setups. Only just that one. Just on the Swan. Which is weird, though, because come to think, actually, no, I take that back. It's not so off because the Swan that ETF is built differently. It's designed differently. So that does kind of make sense that this one would be moving in the direction that it's moving in and the rest of them are not. So that actually does make kind of sense there. Now that I think about it, the way that one is structured. All right, notable crash alerts is in the gold futures, which is actually having a bullish day so far. Let's see, the QQQ, the Spider SPY, crude oil futures, which right now is down 20 cents. GBTC, which is your Bitcoin ETF. And let's see, the inverse ETF for the bonds, TBT ticker. UCO, Canadian dollar, USO, and crash alert for the dollar, UUP. And DUG also has a crash alert on it. And it's up right now, so it doesn't look like that crash alert is going to play out today, but we do have 3 to 5 days for these to manifest. All right, since these are 3 to 5 days forward looking. All right, so sometimes they hit imminently, and then other times it takes about that 3 to 5 days to shake out. So we'll be watching this one like super closely to see exactly what happens. And hopefully we'll get some answers. But like I said, today's close is going to be important also, not because it's Monday, but because of the unprecedented move of the Fed. I mean, they literally came out and said infinite QE. That means QE not stopping. They're going to continue to do this every week, every month, every quarter until further notice. It's absolutely crazy. But I'm going to give y'all something else to do. Give you some more homework. Whatever you do, please do not get taken by the peddlers of panic and propaganda. All right, and fear porn. You're going to hear a lot of that today. We already know what shape the society is in. We know what's going on with the financial system. But do not fall prey and victim to it. Make your coins, make your money in these markets, because at the end of the day, you're still going to need money. All right, you're going to need money. I don't care what anyone says. You're still going to need to eat. You're still going to need to breathe in and out. You're still going to need to wipe your behind when you go to the bathroom. You're still going to need to have clean, pure drinking water to drink. You still gonna need to put your pants on one leg at a time. You're still gonna need to tie your shoes. Nothing's gonna change. The only thing that's changing is the way you eat and make your money. Again, I don't care if the dollar is devalued and it costs $1,000,000 to buy a sandwich. Wouldn't you rather have the $1,000,000 to buy the sandwich, or would you rather not have the $1,000,000 and you cannot buy a sandwich? And you are hungry and your ribs is touching. What you gonna do when your ribs are touching? You gotta have a plan before your ribs start touching. Come on over to PulseWaveTrade.com, stop playing, get yourself a 6-pack, get one for a friend as well. So you can come over here and break bread with us. Let's show you how we do these things. I will be announcing another trade today. I'm working on a couple of things. And once I am finished and I'm out of the lab, I'll let you know what I'm going to be doing. I may, I don't know yet. I may give out another freebie call. I don't know yet. We'll see. I need to finish doing some more research. I need to stay in the lab. I need to look at these algos, see what's going on, and then I'll commence to post my grocery list in the chat room. I will post my grocery list when I start to go shopping. I need to see what's going on first, and if there's any worthy candidates to get in today. One thing I will say though, and I forgot to put this up, so let me do it right now when I'm thinking about it. I'm going to be watching a few things. It seems like a lot of these 3 times ETFs are going the way of the dodo bird, like for real, and that's kind of disheartening. Because the way some of these are priced, I've seen other ETFs get priced like that before, and those ETFs are still here. They're not going anywhere. So we're going to be saying goodbye to OILU and OILD. They're about to go the way of the dodo bird. So is ticker UWT and DWT. They're all going the way of the dodo bird. They're becoming extinct. They just couldn't survive it. I don't know what the problem is, to be quite honest with you, but I guess it's kind of the thing. This happens to a lot of 3X ETFs, which is one of the reasons why I don't really like the things. I don't. I'd rather play just the regular 1 or 1.5 ETFs. Those seem to do a lot better. And they also seem to track the market a lot better too, in my experience. So it's sad. I went ahead, for those that maybe wasn't paying attention, I got out. I just decided just to get the heck out of the market. And I canceled the open orders that I had as well. So I am flat energies right now. I don't have any tickets working in crude oil futures or any other crude oil ETFs. I'm watching and waiting. I'm going to be doing some research. And then once I complete my research, then I'll go in and I'll check it out. But like I said, it's a shame that those 3X energy ETFs have gone the way of the dodo bird. It's just, I guess that's how things go. So you got to take it with a grain of salt and keep moving. Find another candidate. Stocks do that too. You know, for the longest time, Enron was a darling back in the day. It used to be people's favorite stock. And, you know, as it fell and it kept falling and then it kept falling and you never got that technical bounce. And then all of a sudden the announcement came out that it's going the way of the dodo bird and malfeasance and mismanagement. And you guys know the history. And then the same thing happened with Tyco. Same thing happened with WorldCom. Same thing happened with all the tech stocks. Everybody from JDS Uniphase to Microsoft. They all went the way of the dodo bird. Heck, even Yahoo went the way of the dodo bird. There was a time back in the day where Yahoo was trading at $300 a share. Some of you are too young to remember that. Some of you probably weren't even born yet, but that stock did go to $300 a share. Yep, before collapsing back down to $23 a share, and then it went below that. So sometimes these things happen. Sometimes information is held back, and they don't release things until the final moment. And I know you guys remember the most famous blunder that was done on national TV with Jim Cramer when he said Bear Stearns was in good shape. He had just talked to the CEO and all that. That was really messed up because the CEO lied to him and said, yeah, man, we good. We good to go. Our balance sheet is strong. Our earnings are strong. Our products are strong. My breath is strong. And then they went the way of the dodo bird. AOL, yep, AOL, same thing. AOL went the way of the dodo bird. But it was because of their strong arm tactics. Some of you are too young to remember AOL too. AOL ran their business like a gangster. They ran their business like Al Capone. They would take your money after you canceled your subscription and be like, what? What you gonna do about it, knuckle? What you gonna do about it? Yeah, I got your money. I took your money. If you want it back, come see me. That's how they was gangster on the telephone. I remember I had dealings with them. They was something else. They was gangster. They was like, yo, we could take this outside, son. I was like, word? So it's like that? You gonna take it there? You gonna take it there? All right, well, fine. You gonna run me my money. And they did that to a lot of people. And so that's why they went the way they did. It's their business practice. It's how they treated their customers. It's how you treat the public. You can't mistreat people like that and expect to still be in business. You can't remain in business by dissing your people, the people that's keeping the lights on, Please. So anyway, I am looking to do some shopping, but the way the price action is behaving so far today, even though we've now cleared the first hour of trading, I think the range has been established. Today will be, instead of a narrow range day, it's going to be an inside day, kind of. What I mean by inside day is, we're going to trade inside of the established range. I think the highs and the lows have already been established, and I think we're just going to trade inside. And then turn around Tuesday tomorrow, we'll decide what direction the market wants to go in. So it's going to be an interesting day. And we still don't know. We're still not out the woods yet. The market could sell off into the close, or it could rally into the close. It just depends on how the media portrays what happened. If they start hitting you with more fear porn and propaganda peddling, then the markets will probably just stay confused and not go anywhere. But that's a very limited time because the markets hate, and I mean hate, confusion and uncertainty. It loathes it. It's allergic to it. If the market does not get some answers soon, the only direction is down. All right, so that's all I got for now. I need to get back to the lab. I will keep everybody abreast. If you have not already done so, go to PulseWaveTrading.com. We got some great new webinars that we just put up there. We got some free giveaways when you open a free account. It doesn't cost you a dime to open an account. We do have a free traders chat room that's on and popping right now. And if you want to come break bread with us and really learn this easy system, so easy a caveman could do it. Remember those commercials? Geico commercials? So easy a caveman could do it. You need to come over here and break bread with us, man. Let us show you what's what. Put some money in your pocket. Stop playing with me. PulseWaveTrading.com. And remember, bulls make money, bears make money, and pigs get slaughtered. So remember to take what you can and give nothing back. And I'm out until the end of day report this evening. Peace.